Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Longevity pills. As their name suggested, they were pills that could extend a person's life. It was rumored that they were made from extremely rare materials and were created by powerful cultivators via a meticulous process in a harsh environment. Even the core heart sect that specialized in refining pills only managed to refine a handful of longevity pills in the millennium. Some cultivation sects established themselves in the cultivation world by making such pills. A single longevity pill could extend a person's life by 100 years. However, the effects would deteriorate the older the user became. Hence, even longevity pills could not help cultivators overcome the 1,000-year limit. Regardless, longevity pills were still highly sought after by many cultivators. After all, not every cultivator could actually live to their life limit. Bring it here. Lu Zhou's voice was commanding and deep. Li Yunzhao passed the brocade box to Ming Shirin, who carefully received it and placed it on the table before his master. When he saw that his master was resting his spirits with his eyes closed, he did not dare to disturb him. I'll take my leave. Li Yunzhao's assignment was completed. He left the eastern pavilion. I'll take my leave as well, master, Ming Shirin said before he respectfully left the room. Outside the eastern pavilion, Ming Shirin pulled Li Yunzhao and said, Hey. Eunuch Li, wait up. Li Yunzhao frowned. Please. Eunuch Li, do you have any more of that longevity pill? Ming Shirin asked once he caught up with Li Yunzhao. Li Yunzhao shook his head and said, what are you talking about? Longevity pills aren't sold in the store, you know? There are no extras. That was the only one. Even then, it was left behind by the late emperor after searching far and wide across the lands. The Empress Dowager has refrained from consuming it all this time. If it had been anybody else, it would have been long gone. Ming Shirin said helplessly, all right. However, I think you're a great person. My master has searched for longevity pills before as well. Alas, only one was found. Li Yunzhao smiled and said, old mister has helped us greatly. It's only natural to thank him in kind. Ming Shirin nodded and said, you're good with words as well. All right, enough of this chatter. I'm feeling sleepy. He stretched his limbs and walked toward the southern pavilion. Lu Zhou opened his eyes slowly. He looked at the brocade box before his eyes. He shook his head and sighed. Why would I need this? He waved his hand slightly and the brocade box opened with a click. Ding. Obtained longevity pill X1. Can be refined again to raise its quality. When Lu Zhou heard this notification, he was slightly surprised. He did not expect that the longevity pill could be refined. He placed the longevity pill in his hand. When it touched his skin, a warmth immediately spread across his palm. It was an exceptionally wonderful sensation. Its quality and purity are acceptable, the energy as well. Lu Zhou appraised the quality of the longevity pill. Although he was not an expert in refining pills, he knew many things about it. From his memories, he knew Ji Tiandao had searched for the pills many times. He had some rough understandings about anything that had to do with prolonging his life. The problem was, even if the quality is raised, it won't have any effect on me, right? He could hear the reversal card saying that even the highest grade of longevity pills was nothing. He gave it some thought. Although he did not have any need for it, he could still keep it for his disciples. He raised his hand. A refining talisman appeared before it combusted. Lu Zhou did not seem to hesitate when he tossed the pill into the fire. A short while later, he had completed the refining process. Ding. Obtained a high-grade longevity pill. Reward, 500 merit points. A refining talisman for 500 points. That's not too bad. A high-grade longevity pill could extend a person's life by 200 years. The caveat was that said person's great limit was not within the next 200 years. Otherwise, the longevity pill would not have much of an effect. In other words, it would have been a waste if Lu Zhou consumed it. He put the pill away and entered his heavenly writing meditation state. Night fell. The skies were dotted with stars. A black figure could be seen shooting toward the southern pavilion. The feet of the black figure did not touch the ground. His movement was silent. The door of the room easily opened, as though it was pushed open by a gentle breeze. Bam. 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 A cold light flashed for a moment before eerie energy blades stabbed into the bed. The black figure immediately realized that the bed was not occupied. He retreated as quickly as he could. Then, he heard a voice from above. "Comrade, you're late. Mind joining me up here to watch the moon?" The black figure looked up. He decided to give up there and then. He turned around and vanished. Jiang Aijian, who was sitting on the roof, could not help but feel slightly taken aback. So fast? The black figure moved away from the area, shooting past the corridor and a plaza. Just as he was about to leave the southern pavilion, a mocking voice rang from above him. "Hey, there, where are you going in the dead of night?" The black figure looked up and saw Ming Shirin hanging upside down on the thick beam of the entrance. He was hanging between the words, Southern Pavilion. The black figure was not nervous. He changed directions decisively. With a leap, he made his way to the Western Pavilion. He could only reach the Northern Pavilion from the Western Pavilion. From the Northern Pavilion, he could go down the mountain. He did not fly. He stuck to the ground, rooftops, and the various buildings. His movements were nimble and swift. He had just entered the Western Pavilion when he smelled the aromatic scent of booze. "Who's there? Come, join me for a drink." The black figure frowned. He changed direction again. There were 4 pavilions. The Eastern Pavilion was out of the question since the old villain was there. However, he had no way to get to the Northern Pavilion. After mulling it over, he leaped into the air and decisively flew toward the Northern Pavilion. However, as he flew, he realized something was amiss. Why aren't they giving chase? The thought had just appeared in his mind when a yellow-feathered arrow sailed across the sky like a meteor. Boom. The black figure caught it with one hand and somersaulted in the air. Then, about 10 more energy arrows came at him. Whoosh. 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 They resembled a fireworks display. Bam. 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 The black figure moved nimbly and tried to avoid the incoming attacks. He dodged the energy arrows as he dove down and landed near the Northern Pavilion. A hoarse voice reached his ears. "How does it feel to be surrounded?" The black figure saw another black figure facing him with his back. Then, the figure turned around slowly. The moonlight shone on the person's face. He wore a silver mask. Lang Luo's hoarse voice rang in the air. "Li Yunzhao warned you not to act recklessly." "I had no choice," the black figure replied. "Even I have to abide by the rules here, let alone you. Do you think that you'll do better than me?" Lang Luo's tone was calm, but every single word struck home. The black figure said, "I know it's difficult. Even if it means death?" "Death?" The black figure lowered himself slowly. "That's too early to say." Whoosh. A black mist appeared and the black figure vanished. Whiz. A huge avatar that was 100 feet tall suddenly materialized before Lang Luo. Energy spilled into his surroundings. Boom. The avatar shrunk at an extreme speed. Dao invisibility of the other tribes? Lang Luo cultivated Dao invisibility himself. He knew what this skill meant. Hence, before the black figure disappeared, he used the instant burst of energy to attack his surroundings. It was now quiet. At this moment, Jiang Aijian and the others arrived. Pan Litian sauntered over as well. "Old Lang, can you handle this or what?" Pan Litian asked lazily. Hua Yuesheng hovered in midair. The energy bow in her hand vanished. Jiang Aijian said, "No way, a person of the same trade? Tui, we're not of the same trade. I mean, he got away." Ming Shirin spread his arms. You guys had to insist on a game of catching the mice and bet on the direction he would take. Happy now? Lang Luo raised his hand to silence the others. I've injured him. He won't get far. Pan Litian was nonchalant. He lazily took a sip of wine before saying, "Little AI, there's no need to worry. He won't get away." Who are you calling little AI? My name's fucking Jiang Aijian. That man must have cultivated the Dao invisibility skill of the other tribes, Lang Luo said. During their golden years, many other tribesmen cultivated the cultivation methods of Great Yen. Among the various methods, the other tribes managed to create an extreme escaping technique with the Dao invisibility. Doesn't this mean he'll get away? Jiang Aijian widened his eyes. That man had come to assassinate him. The others were nonchalant, but Jiang Aijian was not. He won't get away, Pan Litian laughed and said, we'll have to see who gets to catch this rat first. Hua Wudao said, Elder Lang has struck him too harshly. How could he get away after the instant blast of primal chi from the 100-foot avatar? It's boring to catch a rat like that. Despite his words, he moved quickly into the distance, unleashing his 6 compatible seals. Lang Luo looked up at Hua Yuesheng, who was in the air. The air is your territory. I'll leave it to you. Hua Yuesheng felt invigorated. She cupped her hands and said, rest assured, Elder Lung. Let's see if he dares to show up in the air. Lang Luo stepped forward with his hands on his back and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Speechless, Jiang Aijian looked around himself. Fellow friends, how can you be so flippant? I'm relying on you. Can you be more serious about this? Ming Shirin patted his shoulder. He rolled his eyes and said, you're a 5-leaf elite, aren't you? So what if I'm a 5-leaf cultivator? Can't a 5-leaf cultivator be afraid? Jiang Aijian complained inwardly. Outwardly, he said, you're right, Brother Ming. Thank you for the reminder. Go away, don't get too close to me. I think you can have a good conversation about life with my 8th junior brother. We're not the same kind of people, you and I. You don't have the strength of character or the moral backbone, do you understand? Ming Shirin vanished after he finished speaking. At the back of the mountain, outside the cave of reflection. Under the darkness of the night, nothing could be seen. A black figure with a hand pressed on his chest looked in the direction of the cave of reflection. He cautiously surveyed his surroundings. When he was certain he was alone, he began to move slowly. At this moment, a golden gourd bottle sailed through the air. The black figure stayed close to the ground. He hid his aura when he saw the golden gourd. After the golden gourd disappeared, he looked up. He had underestimated the power of the evil sky pavilion. He could sense powerful energies barring his routes of escape in all directions. The back of the mountain was the only option left for him. The black figure suppressed his surging chi and blood as he could before he picked up pace. At this moment, Yu Shangrong, who was sitting with his legs crossed and eyes shut, as he adjusted his condition, moved his ears. Who's there? Swoosh. The figure entered the barrier and moved to Yu Shangrong's side. Jiang Liang stayed in the divine capital most of the time. He would only leave when he was on a mission. He knew a thing or two about the evil sky pavilion. Unfortunately, he did not know the person before him. He had assumed since the man before him was imprisoned here, the man must be an enemy of the evil sky pavilion. Don't make a sound. Otherwise, you'll die. Jiang Liang held one hand against his chest as he looked at Yu Shangrong. A suspicious expression appeared on his face as he probed the man before him. He could not sense any primal chi from the man, causing him to relax. Comrade, you're hurt. Yu Shangrong's voice was as gentle as usual. Jiang Liang frowned deeply and said, you're captured by the evil sky pavilion? That's right, Yu Shangrong answered honestly. Why didn't you run away? Jiang Liang asked. Run away? Yu Shangrong shook his head and said with a smile, if I could, I would have done that a long time ago. Why would I have to wait until now? Jiang Liang nodded. Looks like I've underestimated the evil sky pavilion, after all. Yu Shangrong was just about to stand up when Jiang Liang interjected in a deep voice, don't move. Are you afraid? I've alerted many elites of the evil sky pavilion. Any movement will catch their attention now. If I die, I'll take you with me, Jiang Liang said. Yu Shangrong looked at the night sky outside and said, you want to kill me? Jiang Liang appraised Yu Shangrong again. The moonlight fell upon Yu Shangrong's face. Jiang Liang thought that Yu Shangrong looked gentle. He said, I'm only trying to save my own skin. Don't resent me for this. There's no need to be afraid, comrade. If this had happened in the past, you wouldn't have lasted a single breath before me, Yu Shangrong said. Jiang Liang frowned again. He scoffed before he said, if it weren't for my injuries due to my carelessness, I'm confident I'll be able to escape. Yu Shangrong shook his head. You're underestimating the evil sky pavilion. What do you mean? Even if I have my cultivation base, it'd be impossible for me to escape this place, let alone someone like you, Yu Shangrong said calmly. Jiang Liang, naturally, disagreed. Speak for yourself. Overconfidence and conceit are the downfall of men. Yu Shangrong recalled his master's words. It seemed like master's words made sense. Jiang Liang looked outside alert, as he said flippantly, a lowly prisoner like you can't compare to me. We can't even be mentioned in the same breath. Yu Shangrong smiled and rose to his feet. I'm sorry. You've picked on the wrong person. Yu Shangrong's words were simple. Jiang Liang was baffled by Yu Shangrong's words. Yu Shangrong took a step forward. Jiang Liang lunged. His dagger gleamed coldly in his hand. At this moment, Yu Shangrong drew his sword, unsheathing the longevity sword. He brought it up in a 45-degree upward motion. Whoosh! The sword was sheathed again. The series of movements flowed smoothly and naturally like water. The battle had ended. Clack! Jiang Liang's dagger broke in half. One half dropped to the ground, the remaining half was still in his grasp. His eyes were brimming with terror. He felt that his sea of qi had been pierced. Moreover, he felt as though his lower left abdomen to his right shoulder had been slashed. There was a slender cut that crossed his sea of qi and was slowly spreading. The person did not use primal qi at all. Did he manage that with his physical strength alone? Jiang Liang turned to look at the longevity sword at the side. It emitted a faint red glow before it disappeared. It was clear that the sword was an extraordinary heaven-grade weapon. Yu Shangrong shook his head with slight dissatisfaction. Under normal circumstances, you would have died instantly. I'm sorry to draw out your pain. Blood stained his clothes. Jiang Liang said, if I hadn't been heavily injured, you couldn't have touched me. If you weren't injured? Yu Shangrong only smiled faintly. He returned to his original spot and sat with his legs crossed before he closed his eyes to rest his spirits. He no longer spoke after that. Jiang Liang's life was seeping away. With a thud, he slumped to the ground. The instant his sea of qi was cut open, he no longer had the ability to conjure up his primal qi. On top of that, he was injured. He could only wait for his death now. He was not content with this outcome. When he was on the brink of death, he looked at Yu Shangrong who was sitting cross-legged across from him. He asked, who are you? I'll remember the name of the person who kills me. Yu Shangrong opened his eyes slightly and glanced at Jiang Liang. He smiled faintly again. My name is Yu Shangrong. Jiang Liang chuckled inwardly. If he wasn't injured? Now he knew that nothing would have changed even if he weren't injured. If he were not injured, and Yu Shangrong had access to his cultivation base, he would have died in a gruesome manner. At this moment, countless thoughts flashed through Jiang Liang's head. Whether it was regret, desperation, or a chance to escape, none of those mattered now. Before he breathed his last breath, he uttered his final word, good. His head lolled to the side, and he breathed no more. The night was still, and the moonlight was enticing. After an unknown period of time, the moonlight shone into the cave of reflection again. Yu Shangrong's long hair was now half white,